Picture a scene ripped straight from an intense nature documentary. You're deep in a rainforest, maybe Thailand, maybe southern China, and you feel that specific electric tension in the air. Suddenly you hear a sound. It's not a hiss. It's closer to a low, powerful growl, and then you see it. The sheer size of the King Cobra, Ophiophagus henna, rising up, spreading that iconic hood. There's a blur, a sudden searing pain, maybe in your forearm, and then silence.
That silence is, it's incredibly deceptive. Because internally, a timer has just started. It's a countdown governed by some of the most sophisticated biochemistry in the entire animal kingdom. We've gone through a substantial stack of sources today: clinical case reports, proteomic studies, epidemiological data, and our mission is to give you the shortcut, a step-by-step understanding of what happens, from the fangs to potentially respiratory failure.
So we're taking a deep dive into what happens when the world's largest venomous snake delivers its payload. And it's medically significant, not just because it's huge, but because the sheer volume of venom it can inject. It's like a double whammy, isn't it? A neurotoxic strike combined with just severe local tissue destruction.
Exactly. And here's a crucial detail that, often gets overlooked in all the drama. A huge percentage of these bites, some studies say nearly 70%, are classified as illegitimate.
Illegitimate? What does that mean?
It means the victim wasn't just walking past the snake, they were interacting with it, handling it, trying to capture it. And that behavior often dictates where the bite happens, typically on an arm or a hand.
Which I'm guessing is bad news.
It's very bad news. It speeds the venom's entry right into the central circulation.
Okay, so to really understand the danger, we have to start with the delivery system itself. We're not talking about simple teeth here. This is like biological engineering. Let's break down the mechanics of the strike. How does this snake manage to inject its venom so perfectly?
It's an incredibly evolved mechanical process. The fangs are these sharply pointed, hollow maxillary teeth. They function just like a syringe, a perfect hypodermic needle.
And how do they deploy them? I know vipers have fangs that fold back. Is it like that?
Similar, but a bit different. They don't fold back completely, they pivot. Think of it less as a simple hinge and more like a sophisticated series of levers and rotation points.
Okay.
When the snake gets ready to strike, specialized muscles contract. This kicks off a rotational movement of the bones in the upper jaw, specifically the maxilla, which pushes the fang forward and fully erect.
Wow, it's like a tiny, perfect switchblade unfolding.
Exactly, all to maximize penetration.
And once that highly specific injection is made, what is in that fluid? What defines the King Cobra's unique and deadly venom cocktail?
It's defined by a simultaneous two-pronged attack. Clinically, what you see is rapid systemic paralysis, that's neurotoxicity, and at the same time, aggressive local damage. That's cytotoxicity.
Two wars on two fronts.
Right. And when researchers analyze the venom, they find three dominant families of toxins. You've got your three-finger toxins, or 3-FTXs, your snake venom metalloproteases, SVMPs, and phospholipases, A2, or PLA2s.
Let's focus on those 3-FTXs first. They sound like the primary assassins here.
They absolutely are. In many King Cobra populations, 3-FTXs are the most abundant protein families, sometimes making up almost half of the total toxin mass. They're the key drivers of the neurological threat. They're designed specifically to disrupt nerve signals.
And the others, the SVMPs and PLA2s.
They're mainly responsible for breaking down tissue. Softening the target, you could say. It all works together to make the whole process faster and more efficient. It's a truly comprehensive system.
Okay, let's trace the path of the venom through the body. The first immediate sign is happening right there at the bite site. What does this massive surge of cytotoxic proteins do locally?
Intense, agonizing pain. It's almost universal, present in nearly all confirmed bites. This is followed almost immediately by aggressive local swelling, or edema. We see that in over 70% of cases. And crucially, this isn't just passive swelling. This is active destruction.
Meaning the local toxins are literally eating away at the tissue?
Exactly. This is the local damage phase. It's driven by those SVMPs and PLA2s, and they trigger inflammation and just massive necrotizing destruction. But here's the nugget of knowledge that takes this from simple tissue damage to pure tactical sabotage. It's the presence of specialized molecules, like a cysteine-rich secretory protein, a CRISP, called Opharin.
Opharin. What's its specific job in this biochemical war?
Opharin acts as a force multiplier for the whole system. The job is to exacerbate inflammation and critically increase vascular permeability.
So it makes your blood vessels leakier.
Precisely. Testing has shown it can increase that leakiness by over 25%.
Wow. So it's not just breaking down tissue, it's actively opening the gates, making sure the rest of the systemic neurotoxins get into the bloodstream and travel around the body faster. The venom is its own logistical support system.
You've got it. So while that localized battle is raging, this massive, painful tissue destruction, the real silent countdown is happening at the same time, out of sight. And that's when the 3-FTXs begin their systemic assault on the nervous system.
So let's pivot to the core lethal action then, the neurotoxic countdown. How do these 3-FTXs shut down the body's communication network?
This is where we need to look closely at the neuromuscular junction. To make it accessible, think of this junction as the communication switchboard between your brain, your nerves, and your muscles.
Okay, like a relay station.
A perfect analogy. Every time you want to move your finger, your brain sends a chemical signal, a neurotransmitter, across that switchboard to the muscle fiber.
And what did the King Cobra neurotoxins do to that signal?
The 3-FTXs are what we call postsynaptic neurotoxins. This means they specifically target the receiving end of that switchboard, the receptors on the muscle fiber itself.
So they don't stop the message from being sent.
No, they block it from being received. They bind to these receptors, essentially locking the gate shut. The brain is screaming the command, but the muscle receptor is blocked. It can never receive it.
And the result is?
The result is total non-responsiveness, descending flaccid paralysis. The muscles just go completely limp.
So the paralysis isn't creeping up from your feet, it's creeping down from your head.
Yeah.
And what's the absolute first sign the person notices, the moment they realize the venom is truly winning?
The earliest and most frequent neurological sign is often quite subtle, but it's unmistakable. It's ptosis,
Ptosis.
the dripping of one or both eyelids. Studies confirm this is an early indicator in over 40% of cases. If the victim can still speak, they might then notice difficulty articulating words. That's dysarthria. And then difficulty swallowing, dysphagia.
They're losing control of their facial muscles first. And as the paralysis continues its descent, shutting down system after system, we approach the critical endpoint.
Correct. The paralysis continues to creep downwards until it compromises the most critical muscles of all, the ones responsible for breathing. When the respiratory muscles fail, the patient suffers asphyxia, which leads to generalized hypoxia and potentially death from multi-organ failure. The need for aggressive medical support is absolute. One major study highlighted that over 40% of patients required mechanical ventilation.
A machine breathing for them, just to survive.
Just to survive.
And in some extreme cases mentioned in the sources, this systemic neural collapse leads to an outcome that is, well, it's genuinely terrifying, locked-in syndrome.
Yes, that is perhaps the most terrifying clinical picture of all. The patient is conscious. They are awake and aware of everything, their environment, the pain, the mounting fear. But they are rendered completely mute and immobile, trapped inside their own body, unable to provide any motor response, sometimes tragically mimicking brain death to an observer.
The sources specifically mention the retrospective accounts, the immense psychological distress and physical suffering from people who have survived this. It just underscores that critical care has to be about managing that psychological terror just as much as respiratory failure.
Absolutely. And survival depends on neutralizing those toxins immediately. Which brings us to the definitive treatment.
So if you're experiencing this descending paralysis, what is the single absolute definitive treatment?
It is the timely administration of the appropriate antivenom. There is no home remedy, no surgery, no drug that can undo the binding of the 3-FTXs once they've locked on. Nothing except for the neutralizing antibodies that the antivenom provides.
But survival faces this massive logistical and biological hurdle, right? Which is the sheer genetic and geographical variability of the King Cobra itself.
That's the global health challenge. The King Cobra species complex is huge. It spans thousands of miles across different environments, from India, Nepal, through Thailand, into the Malaysian peninsula. And the venom composition is highly variable depending on the region.
I see.
So the Thai Red Cross monospecific King Cobra antivenom is the most recognized. But research shows it's less effective against venoms from, say, populations in the Indian subcontinent or Malaysia.
So you could be in a hospital that's stocked with antivenom, but if that antivenom wasn't developed to fight the specific biochemical profile of the local snake population, the treatment could fail.
Precisely. So you have a dual public health challenge. First, the logistics of keeping expensive antivenom in remote areas, where keeping it cold is difficult. And second, the failure of a one-size-fits-all approach, because the weapon changes depending on the postal code.
Time is the enemy. And while you're waiting for medical help, the sources are crystal clear that improper first aid can actively make the situation worse. We need a clear do not do list.
The principle is simple: do no harm. You must not apply tight tourniquets or ligatures. Do not cut or incise the wound.
Or try to suck the venom out.
Or try to suck the venom out. Or apply any strange topical remedies like herbs or black stones.
Okay, why is the tourniquet, which just sounds so intuitive, so actively dangerous in this specific scenario?
Because the King Cobra venom is a cytotoxic nightmare. A tight ligature restricts blood flow, and it traps that powerful tissue-destroying venom locally. So instead of slowing the systemic spread, you dramatically concentrate the cytotoxic effects. You're increasing the risk of severe local swelling, necrosis, infection. You could lose the limb.
You're sacrificing the limb to save the body, except it doesn't even work.
Right. And what's more, pressure immobilization bandaging, or PBI, which is sometimes recommended for purely neurotoxic bites from other snakes, is controversial and often discouraged for the King Cobra.
Why is that?
For the same reason: the high risk of worsening that localized tissue destruction. You trade a chance at system survival for a near guarantee of severe local injury.
Okay, so what does responsible, simple, proven first aid look like before you enter the hospital?
We recommend the simple mnemonic, RIGHT it stands for. Reassure, immobilize, go to the hospital, help identify the snake, and tell the doctor everything.
RIGHT, I like that.
Reassure the victim to keep them calm, which helps slow circulation. Immobilize the affected limb completely, use a splint if you can, and get any jewelry or tight clothing off before that rapid swelling sets in.
And that help identify part is crucial, especially with the antivenom variability. But we have to reiterate, safety first. You never, ever try to capture or kill the snake.
Absolutely not. The safest and most effective way to identify the snake is to safely take a photo or a video with your phone. If the snake is still in view and you are at a safe distance, that visual ID lets medical staff select the right monospecific antivenom quickly, and that can shave precious minutes off the treatment timeline.
Well, what really stands out to me from this deep dive is the almost surgical, simultaneous precision of this venom. It manages to inflict this localized, flesh-destroying damage with toxins like Opharin, while its 3 FTXs are running a systemic program of neural collapse. Surviving this is purely a race against descending paralysis, and timely, specific antivenom is the only way to win.
That dual mechanism truly defines the threat, and yet this creature, which is so rightly feared for its lethality, plays a critical ecological role. It's an apex predator. Its protection helps maintain the balance of entire ecosystems across Asia.
And you mentioned earlier that the venom itself is being studied for potentially life-saving uses, which is just, it's a medical paradox.
It is. Snake venom is a goldmine of unique biological compounds. Researchers are actively studying the very cytotoxins found in cobra venoms, for instance, for potential anti-cancer properties. The same components that rapidly degrade tissue in the wild might be precision tools in a controlled medical setting.
So we're left with this provocative thought, aren't we? While we invest so much in managing the threat of envenomation, we also have to ask ourselves, what other secrets, what potential life-saving drugs are locked away in that venom that we stand to lose if these magnificent and deadly species disappear?
It's a powerful reminder that conservation isn't just about saving animals. Sometimes it's about saving the future of human medicine.